Does your ex see the breakup the same way as you do? Now, depending on if you're the dumper or the dumpee and the circumstances behind it, your worldview, your traumas, your past experiences, it's likely that you both see the breakup in a very different way. And this comes up a lot because in my one-to-one coachings and in my Facebook group, a lot of people will say, last week or last month, they said they loved me and they would stay with me forever. They would walk to the ends of the earth for me. And today, they've dumped me. So the thing is, guys, what is true today might not be true tomorrow. And how you see the breakup is quite possibly very different to how your ex sees the breakup. And depending on how you see the breakup is a lot of the time going to determine how you feel about that breakup, how much pain that's going to cause you. And this is why we have this dumper versus dumpy dynamic. And that's going to be the subject for today. But before I do get into that, welcome back to The Love Fix. It's Nick, as always, doing my best to get you through your breakups as easily and as healthily as possible. If today's video is not enough for you guys, come and join the Facebook group. It is absolutely pumping over there right now. The community is growing. Everyone's just there for each other, pumping out good advice and making friends. So go to Facebook, type in The Love Fix Breakup Recovery, and come join the community. If that's not enough for you and you need my help with your personal situation, with your heartbreak, and you just need to find a way through this, email me at thelovefix20@gmail.com and we can set up a one-to-one coaching session. Without further ado, let's get into it. So here's the thing about perspective. It's exactly that. It's your perspective, and your perspective is quite likely going to be very different to your ex's perspective. Now, most of you listening to this will be the dumpee. Some of you are the dumpers. And guys, I've coached dumpers and I've got some dumpers in my Facebook group. And they go through their version of pain. But they will have a very different version of that pain and what happened in the breakup. Now, I do wish sometimes that I had the ability to talk to a dumper and the dumpee at different times, but about the same relationship, because I think it would be a wonderful experience, a wonderful opportunity to gather information about the same situation, but how two people perceive it. Now, this happens a lot in life. Let's just say, for example, you witness a car accident. Your brain is going to select what it remembers based on your worldview and your attitude towards things. And this is why the authorities will interview multiple people from multiple different angles and try to piece together what actually happened. And this is the case with going for a breakup. When a dumpee comes to me and they say, "Hey Nick, we was together for 5 years. Everything was good. We never argued. And then one day she or he just turned cold, became distant. They said they would love me forever. They said they wanted to get married. They said they wanted my kids. And the following day, they're breaking up with me." Now, if I was to speak to the dumper, a lot of the time, this is likely the version I would get. "Well, I wasn't feeling it for quite some time. For the last 6 months, I haven't been feeling it. They didn't listen to me. They wasn't fulfilling me emotionally. They was never there. They was too anxious. They was too needy. They didn't give me my freedom. And I tried. I tried to make the relationship work, and I tried to force myself to continue to love that person. And one day I just woke up and I couldn't take it anymore." And that's what the dumper would say. The dumpee would say, typically, "I gave them everything. I did everything. I don't know what they're complaining about. I tried my best, and it wasn't good enough. They didn't appreciate what was in front of them." So here's the thing, guys. Both versions of that story can be true, because you are speaking from your worldview, from your perception, from your trauma, and from your attachment style, and from how you see relationships. So One thing that I try to get people to do is to at least partly see the breakup from the other side. Because from the dumper's point of view, they've made the right decision for them because something in the relationship stopped working a long time ago. Okay, and we can make the argument maybe they didn't communicate that, or maybe they didn't communicate that well or correctly. But I could also make the argument that as dumpees, and especially for, I would say, anxious people, that message was never received. You were listening, but you didn't hear it. And you get to the point where you get angry, you start blaming them, and then you start blaming yourself, and then you start backwards rationalizing what happened. And then you start clinging on to hope, which, if you are a regular viewer of my channel, you know that I don't think hope is a good thing in breakups. I think it will just keep you there for longer than you need to be. And your view of the breakup becomes warped, becomes something other than it actually is. And people start convincing themselves of fairy tales and just things that were never said or never happened. And funnily enough, I was coaching a regular client yesterday, and the story he was telling me was his perception of the breakup. And then I said to him, dude, did she actually say this to you? And he said, no, this was my text message to her. So he had convinced himself of what he actually written to her during the breakup, that she actually was thinking that of him. But he had convinced himself of that rhetoric. So it was a case of, okay, man, I hear you. Let's just step back and let's just look at this with a bit of logic. She never said that. You've projected it. And that's okay. But the very thing you are projecting is the very thing that is keeping you exactly where you are and from moving on. And that this is what's causing you pain. So if I was able to speak to the ex and get her version of events, it would probably be very different. And I would argue that she would probably have some very nice things to say about my client. It would just be a case, hey, it just wasn't working for me and I had to make the best decision for me. So sometimes, guys, how you feel about the breakup isn't the reality of the breakup. And I'm not trying to take away from how you feel. How you feel is how you feel, and that is always okay. But when they are being cold, when they are being distant, it's a lot of time for a dumper, they have to do that to separate. They have to turn you into this monster. And I will give you a good example of that from my breakup 2.5 years ago now, is that we largely had a good relationship. There wasn't much bad in it, but every little minor thing that I had done throughout the relationship was very quickly used against me to make the case for breaking up. Now, we can say, well, that's not fair, that's out of order, and we might have an argument there. But at the same time, trying to look at it from the ex's perspective, that's what they had to do to make that separation. So I try to tell people, look, don't get mad at the rules. The rules are the rules. The world is the world. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying it should be this way. I'm saying it is what it is. So don't get mad at the reality that we occupy. Find a way to operate well within those rules, and you will find yourself functioning a lot better. So when you do get stuck in this feedback loop in your head, which we all do, and I've been there and still happens sometimes with various other things in my life, try to always remember that they had their reasons for breaking up with you. And if the situation was reversed, if you were the dumper, how would you be feeling? Because at the moment, if you've never been the dumper, and especially if you didn't want this breakup, you're only operating from your worldview, from your pain and trauma. So try to flip it and look at it from the other end and just say, okay, I don't want this, but okay, I'll accept it. I will be fine. Thank you for your time. Take care, have a good life. Easier said than done, I know. But guys, there's more than one person for anybody out there. We live on a planet with 8 billion people. When people say, I thought this person was the one, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? With all due respect. Because it's just not possible. Statistically, it's just not possible. Or highly unlikely. Are there people out there better suited to each other? Yeah, absolutely. And those people still have to work very hard, and those people might go through breakups and reconcile later. That is a possibility. But this one-itis, everybody seems to have this Disney bullshit that we have been indoctrinated with from birth. And now we've got social media, we've got TikTok influencers and social media influencers telling us how relationships should be. And I'm like, dude, you're 20 years old. What the fuck do you know about relationships? So come back when you finish puberty and we'll talk. And that's not to diminish anyone here, but, you know, relationships require a lot of life experience. It's likely it's going to take you more than one relationship to get it right. Even if you meet the right person, it's going to take you a few attempts to get it right, because there is no playbook, there is no rule book. The template that we are given is from Disney films, social media, and our parents. And guess what, guys? All of them are wrong. So let's learn from it. Let's try to appreciate the other side of the coin, the other side of the story. And understand that your pain is your pain and their pain is their pain. Just because they separated, just because they're rebounding, just because they're monkey branching, just because they're cheating, doesn't mean they don't have pain. Doesn't mean they're not having problems moving on. It doesn't mean they don't have trauma, or they're having a good time, or they're not thinking about you. So, take responsibility for your worldview, but also appreciate that their worldview differs from yours, and that's okay. And if you can learn to have that mindset, and have the mindset of, I can only control what I can control, I'm in control of me, that's it. And if you messed up, you messed up. Own it. Learn from it. Be better. Get it right next time. You're still here. You're still alive. You're doing okay. If your bills are paid, the lights are on, there's food in your belly, everyone you know and love is okay and healthy, you're doing fine. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks that you're single now. It sucks that you've had your heart torn out. But it will heal. And you will be okay. And you are enough. And I promise you that there is a way out. And I can tell you for certain, after coaching hundreds of people now one-to-one, not one of them have come back to me a year later and saying, Nick, I'm still on day one. They might say, look, I'm still having some issues, but I'm a lot better than I was. I've moved on. I've leveled up. I'm doing okay. My finances have got better. So someone posted in my Facebook group the other day, and I can't remember who it was, so I'm doing them a disservice here. And the quote is this: breakups either make bodybuilders or they make alcoholics. So guys and girls, ladies, gentlemen, and whatever gender that you subscribe to, please forgive me, I'm not up on the terminology. You're going to be fine. But you have to choose bodybuilder or alcoholic. Or rather, should we say, going to the gym or going to the bar. You choose what side of that fence you're on. That's your choice. You are choosing right now. You have chosen to listen to this video today. You have chosen to open YouTube today. Today, you chose not to get out of bed, or you chose to go to the gym. That's your choice. I'm not saying at the moment one choice is better than the other. And sometimes we just have to stay in bed and, feel sorry for ourselves. But we can't stay there for too long. So as long as you're going to the gym more than you're going to the bar, as long as you're getting out there more than you're staying in bed, you're doing fine. And that's all I've got for today. I'll see you on the other side.